Hello and welcome to Story Dev. My name is Luke, also known as Tianari, and we're going to continue on from the last video, which almost ended up becoming an hour in length, and continue on with our dimensions and layouts, creating layout elements. And the reason to do this is because we want to be able to set the positions and sizes of everything before we actually start drawing the components themselves, actually work that out. We've got some utility procedures here, which allows us to build layouts a little bit faster. We're going to actually start testing this code as well, so it isn't just going to be, oh, let's code this and expect it to work kind of thing. We're actually going to use this to build something useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something fairly simple here. So we've got these procedures at the moment. I'm going to test these. So what I'm going to do is in Story Creator, which is what we started testing with in the last video, primarily just testing the Unicode stuff. Now we're actually going to build something a bit more useful. So what I'm going to do here is I would like to create, say, a menu bar right at the top. Try and follow the same sort of user interface layout as was in the original Story Creator. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, okay, main menu bar in, and that's going to be going to create layout W, and I'm going to give it height 30, and we're going to, it is, let me just double check again. We've got a Y position and a height. So actually what we want is 0 and 30. That error is probably happening because we don't know. Assignment. Oh, right. Yes, because we're returning the integer. We don't want that. We just want the actual container. So if we've got a main menu bar, then we probably want to have a menu, right? Now, within this, we're going to have a menu. Well, let's just, for the sake of testing, I'm just going to say main menu, items, grid, and this is going to be layout fixed. Is that what we called it? Layout grid fixed. And we're passing in our layout element, right? So the container in which that is contained. So we'll pass that in, and we'll give, let's say, 12 columns on one row. And what I'm going to do now, again, I need to add the integer or indices. Let's see. Cannot assign type. Oh, because it's already a pointer. Right? Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is I'm literally just going to I'm going to have a style. I'm going to have just give myself a very standard style. In fact, I'm actually going to use the button style that I've got set up in here, I believe. Where is it? Where is it? I've got it set up somewhere. Create UI. So we've got UI.current theme. So I'm literally just going to use this current theme button. I'm going to ignore that message for the time being. What am I going to do? I am going to, yeah, we don't need to do anything here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to iterate through each of these grid items. grids in main menu, item grids, and I am literally just going to yes, draw rectangle, and we've got our grid item, which will have. Please shut up. Someone constantly yakking away on my phone. Give me a moment. Let's see. Done it just now. Regardless. So like I say, we've got draw rectangle, which is somewhere. No, it's in core. Draw rectangle, right? So that requires a rectangle. Okay, then and a style. So back in our story creator, we've got a grid item. As I wish autocomplete would work sometimes. I mean, it probably would if I put it in the vendor folder, but never mind. Where are we going? Layout, element, position, physical size. Right. Okay. So we have our regs. It's going to be rl.rectangle, right? Like this. Grid item dot position dot x. Grid item dot position dot y. Grid item dot physical size. Right. Copy that. Passing that rex, and then we will also want the user interface. That's going to be front theme. And I think it requires a style. There's two different things. There's style and then there's style state. So in here we're using style state, I believe. Like that front theme. So I'll just put idle for the time being. Put idle like this. And we'll compile this and see what happens. Okay. Wondering what was going on there. Here's a run. Let's run this. And there we have it. We've got a whole bunch of rectangles that are being drawn at the top of the screen here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there is technically 12, although one of them are missing for some reason. Why would that be the case? That's curious. Run it again. And now more missing. Okay, interesting. Something going on there. I think it must be something to do with the pointers. Memory allocation, perhaps. Let me simplify this. I'm just going to do something real quick here. Let's see. I'm just going to, but just to make it easier, just for the purposes of this, I'm actually here and make it no, that's not going to work. Let me just double here. I'm just going to do this, and I'll fix it later. Don't need to do that anymore because we're heap allocating now. Put layout here. Right. Right, just unpaused video recording, so I'm going to have to work out what I was talking about. I think we were creating a new layout. So yes, let's have a look. I think this should fix our problem now. Let's see. Look. Yeah, that fixes it. So yeah, there is a problem with the memory there. So yeah, we've got 12 technically. But basically the idea behind this is we're specifying where we're going to be putting things that we're drawing and actually be able to then interact with the layouts once we've drawn something, right? Or rather, we work out what we're going to do when we hover over these layouts and then change the drawing, right? Or change what it looks like. We're not going to do that right now for the purposes of what we're doing here. We're just testing the layout. The next thing I'd probably like to start doing now is start looking at something that is a bit more, not necessarily fixed, but perhaps a bit more, let's say, a bit more flexible. So let's have a look at something layout. Yeah, I'm gonna call like that. And in this case, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna have a container as we used to have before. This time we're gonna have instead of columns and rows that are integers, instead we're gonna have columns and rows that are type. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say grid size, let's just call it that for now. So in here, what I'm going to have is, I'm going to say grid sizing format. It's going to be an enum. That's going to be pixels, percent, right? And in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say value F32 followed by our sizing format, grid sizing format like this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this as our columns. So I'm going to have columns and rows, which is going to take an array of grid size, and we're going to return exactly the same things that we were returning last time, which was this bit here. So let's see, I'm going to grab these and put that in here like that. Okay, so we're kind of doing the same thing, except this time we're actually just going to have this. So initially what I'm going to have, this for an element, and see, at least that way I get rid of the error. Let's see. So as we're passing in this grid size, which has got a value of a floating point value, and the formats, which could be in pixels or percent, well, first of all, we need to work out how much space the pixels take up, depending on the container, right? So we need to calculate that initially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for C in columns, right? And I'm going to have two local variables, remaining width, which is going to an F32 of 0, remaining height 32 0, right? And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to calculate the remaining width and height based on the pixel value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, fact, what I'm going to actually going to thing there dots physical size dots x And the same for this one actually. What I'll instead do is minus instead of y. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if c dot format is equal to pixels, I am going to say remaining width minus equals c dot value, right? And I'm going to do the same for our rows here. Rows are, that's remaining height. Once we've got that, we can then work out in percentage what the widths and heights of each of the values should be for each column and row. So we've got the pixel values. Now we're going to determine the pixel values in percentage of the rest of it. How do we do that? How do we do that indeed? Simply put, let's have a look. Did I do it in this column? Or should we just do another for loop? I think what I'm gonna do, yeah, I think just to keep it simple for now, what I'm gonna do, okay, rows, we got that one, actual rows or actual row heights, let's say. For the time being, we'll simplify this later. Gonna be make dynamic F32, and I'm actually going to use the temp allocator here. Actual column widths, right? So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing that I was doing before, but this time what I'm going to do, if c dot format is equal to percentage, in fact, no, I'm not, r in rows. So I'll make that add this one y. That's our index for the cell, right? I'm going to say layout I'm not forward. Actually, we have create layout when we're done. I'll do this. What I'm gonna then do is say actual. Do we need this now? I don't think we do. I think that's unnecessary. Let's just continue. So we've got our. If I do if c format equal to percentage, we'll get the value. Width 0, height 0. We need our start x and start y as we had before. And in this context, what I'm going to do, when we calculate the percentage, we're calculating it based on the remaining width. This is for the column, and then we're doing it for the height as well. So if c.format is equal to percent, then we're going to say our width is equal to c.value times remaining width, right? On the other hand, if our format is instead pixels, then we're just going to say c.value. I'm going to do the same for our row. That's a percent, and our height equal r.value times remaining height. If it's not, I'm going to say height is equal to r.value. What I'm then going to do here is I'm going to say start x y followed by a size that is height, like that, right? And then we append that to our elements layout, indices, that. And then we return the results. Was there anything else I needed to think of here? Yes, I do. So at the end of this, what I need to then do is say start x plus equals row. So if x plus 1 is equal to the length of our columns, I'm going to say start x equal to 1 container. Do x equal to y start y, then b plus equals previous height, else say equals width, like this. Then we're moving along the cells effectively. So what I'm then going to do is test this. So we've got layout grid. Let's go back to story creator here and test it. Instead of layout grid fix, grid, and in here what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a bit bigger. It work action. Let's make it 100. And here I'm let me think. Got grid size, right? I'm doing this correctly. I think it's like this. So we've got, you know, format equal to we need to do this like so many times, right? So I think what we'll do is create a utility, make this 0.25, let's say. We'll do this 4 times. It's gonna look horrible, realize, but this is our columns. And then got it for as well. For the time being, for the time being, what I'm just going to do is say format equal to percent value 1.5. I'll do it like that. Assuming I'm doing something wrong here. Not saying grid size type, invalid type of grid. Does it understand that now? Yes. Got main item, grid. Basically everything. All the rendering actually stays the same. All I'm going to do now is compile. There we go. What's going on here? Okay. Is that just because that's not a memory problem? Why? Something to do with this potentially? It's erasing through. So, what? Keep doing that. Otherwise, this would have to be the other way around, but that's not. We'll do it like that. There we go. So that basically tells us that that works. So we've got equally sized values here. We'll test pixels at some point. Eventually, I'll get to the point where I'll be able to make something that is reminiscent of an actual user interface instead of just drawing rectangles everywhere. But we all start somewhere. All start somewhere. What I'm going to do, in fact, is just to make life a little bit easier. I'm going to have a utility function down here. Gives us sizes, a specific size. So do each size procedure will say have a grid size. The grid size count. We're going to get I realize this is not exactly efficient code. I realize it's not efficient code. Literally, all I'm going to do is this. Size. This, right? Make it inclusive. Actually, no, we don't. We don't want to do that. Results, and I believe is there a way to claim or you just pass it in like this, right? It's just it. So our code changes to something like this. We'll say grab this. Get rid of this. What I'm gonna yes eat times and then do it here as well. So, yes eats grid size twice. In theory, because the idiot, I can't do it like that. Realized it has to be like this. How do I? Okay, so in that case, what would allocate? How do I then turn it into fixed array? Let me just double check the docs here. Or there's a way to do it. Documentation. Arrays. Please tell me I can do this. Please tell me. Technically considered a slice, right? But then just having a look here. What I want to do. Oh wait, hold on. Can I? Right. Yes. Let's see how this works in practice. Or we create. We're good now. Yes. Let's see how this. That's fine. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, that was just a utility function. Glad I looked that up. I would not have known that had I not looked it up. Okay, that's that. I think I'm just gonna leave it here for the time being. I think because this is basically layouts, pretty much kind of done it in a way. There will be more to add to this, but I'm going to leave it here for the time being. So that's going to be that. So we've got repeat grid size, we've got layout grid, we've done something with regards to varying degrees of columns and rows. I'm sure there's something wrong with this, but we'll have a later. We need to layout grid fix, we've got that. We'll create layout height, width, and just create layout in general. I probably will optimize off camera. New, keep allocating layout element when it's only got these in there is completely unnecessary. We don't really need to do that. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's better that it's stack allocated, but we kind of need to keep it in scope. How I do that. We'll see. We'll have to see how I go about doing that. I think because you'd have to construct the layout, send it to UI layouts, and then pass it in here, but then that kind of just defeats the point. we're kind of already doing it here. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? But I'm going to finish off here for the time being. This is basically our complete videos on layout elements. We're going to move on to actually drawing some proper components in the next video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.